up? We are the Early November. I'm Ace. I sing, play guitar, some other stuff.
I'm Serge. I play bass.
I'm Joe. I play guitar.
And this is how music saved our lives. When I was young, when I started playing music, I was probably like 14 years old. And my whole life prior to that, and even a while after that, I was always, I had a lot of learning disabilities from a young age. I was always very, since I was in first grade, I remember I got all these tests and, blah, 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 all this stuff. And they put me in like different classes than all my friends. For my whole life, I've always, been, one of the kids from where I'm from, the non-speaking English classes, where it's just like, me, a couple people like me, and, people who don't speak English. So that's how I grew up, sort of getting picked on for that and not really being able to, just being very insecure about everything pretty much when you go to school. And, if the teacher calls on you, it's like the worst nightmare you have in your life. It's like, oh my God, you start sweating that feeling. And that was pretty much my whole time growing up. And, people would tell me like, I remember one time like, my fourth grade teacher was like, oh yeah, you'll be able to do something. You'll be like a garbage man or something like that. And everybody's saying that, they're going to go to college and all these things. But, I, from a very young age, was like set aside and labeled different. And, for me and where I'm from, it made me a very insecure sort of, sheltered, like held back person. Didn't have many friends at all. And it wasn't until I started playing guitar and writing songs, that I realized like, wow, I'm actually good at something. At that point is when I met, all my friends that I have now. I met Joe at that point. We started playing, and yeah, I have to say music is definitely changed my whole entire life. I have no idea what I'd be. I can't imagine. I've been doing this now for 12 years that this band has existed. I try and just tell everybody, no matter what anybody says, if you believe in something, especially something that you can feel passionate about, don't worry, because people have counted me out. I've been the underdog for my entire life, my entire career. And music not only taught me how to be confident and passionate and saved my life then, but it continues to. Every single year, every single album, every single show, music still is the only thing that makes me, at least in my head, makes me feel equal, makes me feel like, I can be right up here, and it's continued to save my life ever since. As cheesy as that may sound, I tell everyone that. It's like, I can't imagine not having it. So, yeah, that's my story of how music helped save me.
I think growing up, I was always a real, fidgety kid. And I never, my attention span for one thing or another was always, I'd be into something and then I'd be out of it. And, as I started to get a little bit older in my high school years, I started thinking, oh, my friends are planning on going to college or doing this, and they all have some kind of, direction they want to take. And I was just never, passionate about anything in that sense. But when I started playing bass and writing songs and bands and stuff like that, it was, the one thing that I found not only gave me this focus, but it made me excited and interested in. And, I never in my wildest dreams thought it would become a career for me. But as I was growing up, it was just something that I was so passionate about. And when I wasn't doing it, I'd be sitting in school reading bass tabs and this and that and planning on what show I'd be going to. So as I started to get older, I realized that, it was the direction I wanted to take my life in. And if it wasn't really for music being there, I think I'd still be confused. And even at almost 30 years old, the thought of me losing this or this not being in my life at any point is really scary, because it's helped structure so much of who I am, now. So I got to say, it definitely, not only did it save my life, it paved a way for me. So I'm very appreciative to everything it gave me.
Ace mentioned that we were from a small town where it was so small that if you were a little bit different, it was super noticeable. Because if you're in a huge school in a city or whatever it may be, or a big town, and you're kind of different, chances are there's going to be a few other people that are as different, if not more different than you are. So you can kind of hide behind those people. Well, our town was really small. I think there was about 100 people, 150 people in our graduating class. Pretty small.
It was 140.
Yeah. So like, and he was the grade above me, but we were, it was small. So I was one of the kids who didn't, you know, not the most popular, but just trying to get by, trying to do whatever you do. But the thing that I gravitated towards was always music. Since 3 years old, my mom gave me a couple Beatles cassettes, a couple Queen cassettes, and from that age, that's the thing I care about. A lot of kids were into sports. That was really it. You were kind of into sports if you were a boy in that town. I never really got sports, and there's nothing wrong with them, and sports are great. But I gravitated towards music since my first memories I can think of were thinking about songs and the stories they told. And I probably didn't understand them at the time, but you know, why did I like the Beatles so much at that age? So as I grew up, that kept going, and I got into punk and hardcore and stuff like that, and I started to find, you know, this is where the people I like hang out. They go to these things. They like these kinds of bands, and I started to explore that. You know, I met Ace, and we started getting into the same music together, and then, you know, you kind of reached all the people you're going to in your small little town and of your peers, and you find more towns, and you meet new bands, and and my friends and my life from that point on. Once specifically getting into like the DIY punk rock scene of the late 90s, early 2000s of southern New Jersey, which as small as it was, that's who my friends are still to this day. Most of those people are still some of my closest friends. And through those people, we've met, you know, people who became our wives, or, you know, it's just those people are the, you know, I guess we're the outcasts and the people who are slightly different, but that's the people that I want to be around. And that's what's so amazing about music and about any good music scene, is they're accepting anybody, no matter who you are or what you're into or what you like or who you like or anything. They're going to let you in, and you're accepted there where you may not be accepted, you know, elsewhere or for another activity, whatever it may be. So that's how, like Sergio said, music saved my life, but even more so, it gave me a life, which was really neat because I wasn't doing much before it. So I was skateboarding a little bit here and there, but music is what I'm into. It defines me now, and the largest part of that is music. It's, you know, the band I'm in, the bands I'm into, my friends who are into the same things as me. And I hope that doesn't change, and I don't think it will.